Alright, so welcome back into another Dragon Ball Super card game video, and I feel like there's always some sort of ruling going on or something that needs to be cleared up, so that's why I'm doing another video for this. This time it's going to be the anniversary box ruling. So if you didn't catch the last one, which is going to be, what was it, set to 10, probably set 10, go check that one out. Let me know what other rulings that I should be going over. I probably will be doing another video of this because there are things that keep popping up over and over again. I'm also incorporating things that are in the Discord as well, so if you aren't in there, go ahead and join the Discord in the description below. I included a couple of them in this video as well, and then subscribe if you're new. So let's go right into it, baby. This one is the free Bardock ruling update. So if you haven't seen this already, which I will get my face out of this, it says, after reviewing recent tournament footage, we encountered an unexpected card interaction with Bardock the Resolute. After reviewing our website's FAQ, determined the answer is wrong. So it was actually on the FAQ. They're updating it based on tournament results, or at least tournament footage, which is interesting. We will fix our official website next week, which is interesting as well. I don't know why it takes so long to do that. Let me apologize, right? And of course, the correct ruling is follows: if the attack by one of your cards causes an opponent to add a card from their life to their hand, does this card's auto effect activate? No, it doesn't. So regular attacks no longer work. So there you go. You can't have a nice little free thing, which is unfortunate. But again, if we kind of consider what counts or denotes as a skill, where it says if your opponent's life is taken by their hand, or life is added to their hand or placed in the drop area by a skill, you may play this card from your hand. We have to kind of understand what a skill really counts, or what it's what is affected by, basically. So what still works is going to be the Burn. So it literally says if you choose one card from your life and you burst 2, your opponent's life is 5 or more, you deal 1 damage to your opponent. That will still work because you're adding a card by a skill into their hand. So there you go. Pretty easy, right? And then we also have critical. So anything that does have critical is a skill that is from their life back into their drop by a keyword skill, which is critical. And when you play Tau, which again, the previous video that I made with Burhan still works, in which you swing, you make them take the life, which is critical, goes to drop, and then you go ahead and play the Bardock the Resolute. Of course, this new champ pack, Super Saiyan 3 Gohan, which is one of my favorite cards, I just don't play. It has Deflect and Barrier, and basically when it activates Alliance, you deal 1 damage to the opponent, and then a bunch of other effects, right? If your leader card is a mono red Saiyan, that one still works because you're still dealing a damage based on this skill, which is Alliance. Same thing for Broly Counter Reversal, in which they activate a counter skill, they deal 1 damage to them. This new TP pack or promo, I think it's one of those. Pretty sure it's a TP or like a winter card. If your leader card is a red Earthling, you place 1 card from your life in your drop area and you add 1 card to your life to your hand. And then when it attacks a battle card, you deal 1 damage to your opponent. So it doesn't even matter if it kills it. I guess it just attacks. And then they take a damage, and there you go. Bardock can come out right then and there because obviously your leader card's red. And then, of course, Alliance. If you activate Alliance, switch by rest mode, you deal 1 damage to your opponent. Acrobatic Warrior still works. So there's a lot of stuff, specifically in mono red and as well as red green, that still work with the Bardock Resolute. So you might have to just kind of work around that. And then we go into the Agents of Destruction. Another update that people keep coming out with is that, can you use this auto skill to add Agent of Destruction Strike back to your hand? On the right, where it says basically the Broly, where it says discard this card, add a card with Agent of Destruction in his card in his name for your drop area to your hand. And it says yes, you can do this. And when the card references a card in singular form, it also applies to the plural form in that card name as well. That's good to know in the future because, you know, obviously it has in its name, so people confuse like there's brackets with the other one in which is referencing the character trait name, which is important to know. But for this one, it is card name. You can add things that are in the card name that has a plural name back into your hand, or whatever the effect that you might be doing. Specifically this one with a Broly. And then we now have the critical blocker Ape. Just a good one to know, because this one has a permanent saying you can only play mono yellow Saiyan cards. And the question is, can you play when this card is in play? Can you use Unison cards? Can you play Unison card? Doesn't matter what it is. No, you can't. So because it says mono yellow Saiyan cards, even though it says Saiyan referencing to the character trait, or the special trait down here, for battle cards specifically, usually, or even leader cards, I guess. But you wouldn't play leader card, but don't worry about that. You can't play Unison cards, which because it doesn't have a trait, it doesn't have anything. It just, you can't play mono yellow Saiyan cards. On that same effect, we also have, which this should be 5. I apologize. Okay. Critical blocker with the Successor. So basically, with David Fashbinder, his ruling, and as well as just official ruling from Bandai, which makes sense in general. Like if you look up the Successor ruling, or at least just in the rule book, and as well as if you just read it, like you have to place the cards into the drop area first and then play it. So Successor pitching Ape will work as described above, which is another post, to play a non-Saiyan Successor target like Cell Zeno, and it will be updated for this very unique permanent. So in the same respect that we're saying you can only play mono yellow Saiyan cards, you first place that battle card into the drop, and then you place Successor right after. So because of the effect going to the drop first, the permanent is no longer there. Successor does go ahead and activates properly, or resolves properly, I should say. So things like Dispo, in which you can place it right into the drop right afterwards, it would work. Leader card is yellow, so you can easily play this in Jiren or whatever. Super 17 still works, you just need a 5-drop afterwards. And Cell Zeno, which obviously this is a 4 cost, all the other apes are 4 costs. That's going to be a really easy one to do, and that's why it's so important right now and so expensive. Going into the Apes and Toppo on the same plane of thought, Toppo on the backside, which I probably should have put on here, says that you can only play 1 battle card, basically. You and your opponent can only play 1 battle card if you have a Unison in play. And with March of the Great Ape, and as well as Mating Transformation, you only get to play 1. And the reason why is because as you are playing those cards, even though it says choose up to 2, and choose up to 2 for both, for Mating Squadron as well as Great Ape, it doesn't matter because it resolves as you go. So the permanent says you only play 1, and when you play 1, the permanent resolves and you can't do any more. It doesn't get around just because the card says it does. I think there is a simultaneous thing, like as far as the rulebook goes, which is usually what I reference in these things, but that just kind of makes sense, honestly. Permanents, as I'm going to go through in just a second with another ruling, are basically quicker. Like it has the most, as long as it's on the field and active and in the gameplay, then you're good to go. You're good to go on that. It is quicker than pretty much anything else in the game. And as we look into this one, permanents versus counterplays, this actually came up in our last tournament for our anniversary box tournament. Yeah, last Sunday. Yeah, and with Since Shenron being the Shadow Dragon leader, the auto says is that when it's removed, you get to play up to 1 energy, negative energy 1-star ball. The energy 1-star ball says it doesn't be affected by card skills, and Trunks says, and just like any other kind of play that says, you know, you can do whatever, pay this cost in placing the drop area or return it to your hand, whatever it may be, says that if you place this in the drop area, the card being played is returned to the owner's hand instead of being played if you don't play this card. So if you look at the timings for counter timings, it says when playing an energy to play a battle card from your hand, you declare it, right? An opponent activates and resolves a counterplay card. To play that battle card, if it has a permanent, it will now apply and takes an effect. So with counterplay specifically, if it says that if you are declaring to play a battle card, whether it's window 1 or window 2, doesn't matter, you get to resolve or activate a counterplay as long as you meet the requirements, which I'm guessing if you have a 2 or cost marker blue Unison for this guy, then you can go ahead and resolve it or at least activate it, and then it will resolve whatever it is, placing it back into their hand. And then if it's not played, which this one says do not play that card, the permanent never goes in. So that's why it never takes an effect, and that's why it is affected by it. So if you do reference the 1-drop negative ball or the Shenron ball, whatever it is, that permanent that it has is never in effect because it was never played. That's probably the best way I can describe that. Then we also have the permanents versus autos, which the 9-drop Shenron, this has popped up a couple times now, says if your opponent plays a battle card, and when your opponent plays a battle card, you choose that battle card, ignoring barrier, and negate the skills for the duration of turn. So this is a weird one, which I am okay being wrong, but based on this reference and as well as other things or other people that I've seen try to rule this, is that the permanent for Super Saiyan 3 Gotens says negate the skills of all other battle cards, right? So as soon as this is played, which this is not saying, just like the Trunks kind of play, is not saying place it back into your hand and never play it. This one is actually saying when they do play it, you choose that battle card, ignoring barrier, and it negates his skills. But this one is being played, and then the permanent is immediately in effect as soon as it's played. So as soon as it's resolved, which this is not a counterplay, the permanent negates this skill and takes precedent. And when you look into the rule book, it says permanent skills do not activate. Their permanents are all constantly active. So because of that, as soon as it's down, you're good to go to negate this skill, and it never goes off. Anyway, that's basically how I see it. There are a number of Q&A questions or Q&A things for Gotens in the Q&A that you can find on the website, which actually goes around goes over things like barrier being negated, and as well as the timing, and as well as interaction with King Vegeta being negated, things like that. And I think it's good to probably clear this up anywhere else, but as I understand, the permanent does take an effect first and is not affected afterwards. Moving on, this is one from our boy Nano in the Discord as well. This one says if you use this on a leader card, does the auto of the drawing effect still go off? And this is pretty basic because it is a pending auto. This one says if your leader card is mono yellow, you choose an attacking card, whether it's a leader card or not, and negate the skills for the duration of turn. You can't be switched in active mode until the start of your turn. And one of the skills is the auto, in which you draw a card for most cards. If it's like Zamasu, we have dual attack. They obviously can't draw a card on the other one, and they're in rest. But in regular leader autos, because it's pending at the time of the counter attack, it's not negated. So there you go. Then we also have Jiren and the Unison activate battle. Because it activate battle for the -3, choosing up to one of the opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, and gains -25k for the duration of turn. Cycle tick. It says, can I activate battle when the opponent swings at this Unison? You can't, because it doesn't have a defensive step. I'm actually even going to add the ruling here, in which if you look at 72123, it says the turn player can activate battle skill or activate battle skills on their leader cards, battle cards, extra cards, and Unison cards. So basically during the defensive step, you can go ahead and do that. It just doesn't have to be the guard card. So if you look at the bottom where it says with the guard card, which is basically the card that's it's in battle, as a Unison card, you skip the defensive step and proceed to the damage step. So you're gonna still have to negate in order to prevent all that. But if it's in battle with, let's say, a battle card to another battle card, you can still go ahead and activate that, which is always good to know, because I think the Jiren Unison is probably the first one to activate battle. So there you go. Okay, last one, which is part of set 11, which I'm gonna go ahead and do all the reveals and things like that now, or maybe before this video, I'm not sure. Either way, one of the cards that are coming out right now is another counterplay, in which there's a lot of confusion here. It's a 4 cost, 4 specific energy here, and 20k in dual attack, pretty appealing. The leader card is green, and you choose one of your Unison cards and remove a marker from it. You play the card. Then, if your battle card is being played, energy cost of 5 or less, it's placed in the drop area instead of being played. Yes, you have to pay the cost. Before I say anything else, you have to pay the 4 energy cost, along with you choose one of your Unison cards and remove the marker from it. The reason for this is because, just like pretty much every other counterplay card, you have to pay the cost for them unless otherwise specified. Tom of the Trickster, it says play this card. If you move all of this, you just play this card without any of the things saying that reduce the cost by 4 or whatever, then you just play the card. You pay the 2 if it's multicolored, you pay the 3 if it's not. Same thing for Vegeta, same thing for Dodoria. You pay 1 green energy if your leader card is mono green, you have a green Unison in play. You pay, if the battle card is being played, it has an energy cost of 2 or less, placed in drop area instead of being played, and then you play this card, but you still have to pay the energy and still have the green Unison in play and the mono green leader. Same thing for Denial of Hope, that never changed. Belmont, same thing, you pay 4 and the permanent says you reduce it by 2 if you counter play or counter attack. So there you go, you pay 4 for counter play or counter attack, same thing. 3 for the hit. Yamcha, you pay 3 if you do not have a random Unison with 2 or more markers, which is specified. You can pay without the cost. So there you go. Hopefully that like stops a lot of the ruling questions for this type of card in the future. But let me know what you think below. Let me know any questions that you have. Did I miss anything? Did I misinform you for anything? If you have an updated ruling question, I will pin it, I will heart it, I will let everybody know that it's incorrect in the comments below. And if it is correct and it helped you out, I hope that you do subscribe. If you're not, you like the video, dislike it if not, and I'll see you in the next one.